Welcome to the Morning Edition Extra. Excuse me, my mic was down. Welcome to the Morning Edition Extra on this Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for starting off your day with us here at Alaska's News Source. Starting us off on the Extra, we have meteorologist Aaron Morrison, who's going to give us a breakdown over what our weather is going to look like today and as we head into the rest of our week. Aaron.
Thanks, Adalmi. Still holding on to those temperatures sitting well below average across the state. In fact, this month across South Central, we've only seen one day where those temperatures topped out near seasonal values, and that was right around the start of the ceremonial start of the Iditarod. This is the average monthly temperature for March is coming in at 9.4 degrees, which is about 15 degrees below average. And this is currently the fifth coldest March to date. That we have to go back to 1972 to find a date that was colder than this. So this is one of the coldest Marches we've seen in several decades. We are waking up this morning, 35 below in Fairbanks, 9 below in Bethel through the Aleutians. We've got those temperatures in the single digits and 20s as well as 30s out towards Adak. So we're still holding on to some mild conditions as you head through the western Aleutians as well as out towards southeast, but most of the state still gripping those cold conditions across Alaska. We've got this area of low pressure that remains locked in place as you head through northeastern parts of the Gulf, and that is going to continue to keep snow showers out towards southeast. That will also lead to some light snow into south central tonight into tomorrow as we see a subtle shift towards the northwest with this storm system. And it's going to kind of wobble here over the next couple of hours, keeping some light snow showers pushing through Prince William Sound. Waves of snow will continue out towards southeast where we could see up to 16 inches in some of those harder hit areas by week's end. But you can see some of these light snow showers will possibly hit parts of western south central overnight into tomorrow. Should that occur, we'll likely see about a trace to less than a half an inch of snow accumulation, but the best chance for snow will remain through Prince William Sound and eastern parts of the Kenai as well as through parts of the Copper Valley. As far as southeast, we're just going to talk about persistent snow showers continuing for the foreseeable future. So snow remains with the Chugach Range, Prince William Sound, and southern parts of the Copper Valley throughout the remainder of today. And then overnight into tomorrow, you can see a trace to about half an inch, if not some locally heavier amounts, will be possible across western parts of the region. Not everyone will see that snow. It'll come in very light flurry activity, if not just a slight chance for some of those passing snow showers. And we started off the snow season with a kind of a lackluster activity across a good portion of the state. You can see Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau saw roughly right around a foot, if not less than that. Of course, Juneau saw significantly less, right around an inch. And then as we welcomed in winter, we saw a huge surge in our moisture potential across the state. Anchorage picked up over 50 inches of snow accumulation, just under 75 inches in Fairbanks for the winter season. And of course, Juneau picked up over 130 inches of snow accumulation. And while things have quieted down for the spring season for both Anchorage as well as Fairbanks, it's still ongoing for Juneau, where we've already seen just under 45 inches since the start of March. And we are going to continue to add on to that through the rest of this week. In fact, by week's end, we could see an additional 10 plus inches of snow accumulation for Juneau. Now, one thing we are going to be watching as we close out March, many areas across the state will trend on the drier side. These grays that you're seeing, that's a equal chance or pretty much normal opportunity for that rain that we typically see or precipitation that we typically see around this time of year. And that is what we're going to continue to watch for Juneau is ongoing snow showers that will remain through the close of this week. There's that chance for snow Thursday for South Central as we officially start off spring Friday, at 6:46 in the morning. You can see we kind of kick winter to the curb and we slowly begin to warm. Temperatures will still be below average. Average highs we welcome in the weekend begins to push right around 30 degrees. And so you can see those temperatures will still be sitting well below seasonal values. But we do warm mid to upper 20s and we'll stay in the 20s through next week.
Thank you, Aaron. And meantime, 19-year-old Kelly Hunt, missing since early January, has been last seen walking alone in Anchorage. She left home and never made it back. This is her photo. Her phone has gone silent, her belongings left behind, and since then, no answers. Today, her family is still waiting, still searching, and still holding on to hope. Meanwhile, this weekend, a powerful show of support with one message: bring Kelly home. Augusta McDonald has the story.
Bring Kelly home! Bring Kelly home! A wave of support across the Alaska Airlines Center in Anchorage, where thousands were gathered for state 1A and 2A basketball championships. Just a year ago, Kelly was playing as a senior on the winning Shaktoolik girls basketball team. Now, her community is chanting her name for a different reason. In January, the 19-year-old was on her way back to Alaska Christian College near Soldotna when her older brother tells me she stopped checking her phone.
I brought her to the airport January 6th, and then she was last seen or heard of January 7th, that early morning.
Her oldest brother, Edward, is offering a $5,000 reward for any information leading to her discovery.
It's kind of a pain that never settles. It's not just grief. It's also the constant not knowing, the unanswered questions and whatnot that echo every day.
Many questions remain unanswered, but one thing is known. The thousands who rallied from across Alaska and shouted her name to the rafters this weekend want Kelly home safe. This powerful moment organized by Alexis Savage.
I feel like it was an act of humanity for Alaska, and our people really needed to see something like that happen.
Kelly Hunt was last seen in Anchorage on foot on 32nd and Oregon Drive. She's 5 foot 4 inches, 155 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes, wearing a dark jacket and dark pants. Augusta McDonald, Alaska's news source.
If you have any information on Kelly Hunt's whereabouts, police encourage you to call dispatch at 311, or you can remain anonymous by contacting AnchorageCrimeStoppers.com. An Anchorage doctor convicted in a multi-million-dollar fraud learned her sentence Tuesday. Federal prosecutors say patients were billed for costly injections that weren't always what they received. Dr. Clarabelle Tan was sentenced to 78 months for healthcare fraud and 60 months for tax evasion to be served concurrently, followed by 2 years of supervised release. Prosecutors say restitution is expected to total at least $17 million. Investigators say Tan and her husband ran an Anchorage rheumatology clinic that billed insurers for full doses of expensive biologic drugs, while patients may have received reduced doses.
About the dollars. They're about so much more, and we saw that today by the victim statements.
Tan's husband and co-defendant Daniel Tan was sentenced to 3 years probation with 2 years to be served in home confinement. The Alaska Department of Law confirms the suspect in this weekend's homicide investigation was found dead and died by suicide. The body of 61-year-old Matthew Becker was discovered Sunday morning in the woods in Eagle River. Anchorage police say Becker first tried to kill his ex-wife at her hair salon on Cordova Street Saturday, shooting at her. Investigators say then he went to her Airport Heights home where he shot and killed her 87-year-old father. Becker owned a comedy club in Arizona. The club's former social media manager posted a statement on the club's Facebook page. You can read it on our website. And colder than average temperatures along with deep snowpack might make for a hazardous spring breakup. The National Weather Service has published their first forecast for the breakup this year. Joe Walgood spoke with them and has that story.
The ice is thick. The ice is jumbled up and it's rough, and it just seems like it's going to be very resistant to breaking up.
Along the upper Yukon and Tanana rivers, the National Weather Service is eyeing conditions that might lead to ice jam flooding this spring.
If we have a really warm spring, especially if it goes cold for the first part of spring and then warms up rapidly in May, that's usually the worst case scenario for us when we have deep snowpack like that.
Forecaster Kyle Van Peersum says a breakup spread over about 6 weeks is preferred, but if it happens all at once,
the ice isn't going to have a chance to break up into smaller pieces when that happens. So as the ice begins to move downriver, it's much more likely to jam in narrow constrictions or bends in the river.
Ice jams are generally localized, but
as breakup pushes downstream, say from the upper Yukon, what happens in the lower part of the river is actually definitely influenced from the amount of water coming down from the upper part of the river.
That's what happened along the Innoko River in 2023. and there's potential for that along the Yukon this year.
Now for the Kuskokwim, it's actually a little bit different. We were looking a little more closely today at the snowpack that would feed into the Kuskokwim River, and the snowpack's well below average in that area. So that's good news for them.
So fortunately, the communities impacted by Typhoon Halong don't face as much risk, though it's always good to be prepared.
The big thing is work with your local officials to figure out where the safe areas are in terms of high ground.
And if you're wondering what this means for a certain Alaskan tradition,
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say as a federal employee.
okay, you might want to pick a later date this year. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
A man is facing federal charges after authorities say he sparked a mid-air disturbance on a Delta flight bound for Taiwan, forcing the plane to divert and make an emergency landing in Anchorage. Investigators say Malcolm Martin intimidated flight attendants and argued with crew members near a galley restroom. Court documents say the situation escalated quickly, prompting the pilots to lock the cockpit and divert Delta Flight 69 to Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport. Martin was detained when the plane arrived at the gate, later arrested. He's charged with interfering with a flight crew, a federal offense that can carry up to 20 years in prison. Lars Hansen has been covering this story. You can read the latest on alaskasnewssource.com. And the ballots are in the mail. Voting in Anchorage's municipal election is now less than a month away. Lauren Maxwell has more on what you need to know to make your vote count.
On Tuesday, more than 200,000 ballots went out in the mail to registered Anchorage voters for the April 7th election, while workers at the Anchorage Election Center prepared to mail out nearly 1,500 more. Officials say if you're expecting a ballot but don't see it by next Tuesday,
we can send you a replacement ballot.
Definitely give them a call. The municipal election offers lots of ways to vote, including 18 ballot drop boxes around town that are ready to go. Of course, you can send your ballot back in the mail with a single forever stamp, but if it's close to Election Day, it's a good idea to go to the post office and bring it inside,
so that we can ensure that we get that postmark on the day that it was dropped off.
And starting March 31st, places like City Hall and the Lusac Library will allow you to vote in person. Just make sure to bring your ID.
Driver's license, passport, fishing license, those all still work for us.
And for people who want to know exactly where their ballot is, you get notified every step of the way. You can sign up for something called Ballot Track.
Yep, I got my notification this morning that my ballot is on its way to me.
The system tracks your ballot through the process and will even let you know if there's a problem that needs correcting. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
In Fairbanks, a downtown warming center will no longer be an option next winter. Fairbanks HopeLink is a nonprofit that runs the facility. They say it will close its doors for good on April 30th due to funding concerns. Board member Michelle Pesky says it needs leadership adjustments, including the executive director and program manager roles.
It was supposed to be a warm place for people to stay so they didn't freeze. And it's grown into something that in order to find sustainable financial resources, we would have to grow as an organization, which with a volunteer board is more than we're able to do.
Board members say the closure announcement was made early so the community has time to make adjustments and come up with alternative resources. And switching gears, Jesse Holmes retains the crown. The Brushkana musher, originally from Alabama, repeating as Iditarod champion Tuesday night. The Alaska News Source trail team was there in Nome as we relive the moment of triumph as told by sports director Jordan Rodenberger.
Make some noise, here comes Jesse Holmes!
On the road to glory. Chasing greatness down the front street of Nome. Jesse Holmes caught up to it under the Burled Arch.
You are finishing in first place, second year in a row, in 9 days, 7 hours, 32 minutes, 51 seconds.
Well, I've been chasing greatness ever since the last time I was here. You know, thinking about Lance and Susan, the only two people that followed up that first initial win with a second consecutive win.
The victory in convincing fashion, holding a commanding lead throughout the race to finish in just under 9.5 days.
Doing dogs something real fast here.
With his team of sled dogs leading the way for 1,000 miles.
We're lucky to be back here. We're blessed. I'm grateful. I want to cry so bad. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of these dogs.
And this time around, able to soak in the moment together. With his team,
Go Jesse!
the fans, and for himself.
I'm going to Mexico in about a month and a half.
And doing it his way.
Everybody's got their different style. Jesse, he's got the free flow and hippie style.
And the back-to-back champ isn't done chasing greatness.
Hold it. Come here, buddy. Hold it.
Chasing greatness is something that I do every morning when I wake up, It's I just try to give 100%, into everything that I do.
All right, straight. Straight, Rocco.
Jordan Rodenberger, Alaska's news source.
The trail has not quite ran out on Iditarod 54 just yet, not until the Red Lantern crosses under the Burled Arch as the remaining teams on the trail continue to trot towards Nome. And new this morning, the second place finisher Travis Beals checking into Nome at 1:58 a.m. this morning, finishing in 9 days, 11 hours, and 58 minutes. Travis has been mushing dogs his entire life. Him and his wife own and operate Turning Heads Kennel based in Seward. Over his career, he has completed the Iditarod multiple times, the junior Iditarod, Testamina 200, Copper Basin 200, Kinnick 200, Willow 300, and many others. He has finished the Iditarod in the top 10 a total of 5 times previously, but this is his first finish in the top 3. A special passenger was on board with him during this race.
What does it mean to be here today, having lost your mom this last year?
Pretty special, yeah. She was a powerful force out there for me, for sure.
Was there anywhere particular on the trail that you just felt her presence or knew she was watching over you?
She was riding with me every step of the way, so I was joking on the way in. I said, "Mom, pretty good for your first day, Iditarod." Yeah.
He carried some of his mother's ashes with him on the trail this year, having lost her recently, and crediting her with a big part of why he's a musher to begin with. Congratulations, Travis, on a race well run.
It's been a long road, and I think we've learned a little bit every year, and certainly.
And with that, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some national stories that have been trending in the lower 48 and up here, including the Iran war, a study on forever chemicals and what they can do to your bodies, and a dad is charged after a 3-month-old is severely injured. So we'll touch on those stories when we return. Welcome back into the Morning Edition Extra. President Donald Trump now says America can go it alone to secure the critical Strait of Hormuz after lashing out at NATO allies for not stepping in to help bring down surging global energy prices. That as the president is pushing back against his first senior administration official to quit in opposition to the war. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
With the war's costs mounting, including a deadly missile strike in central Israel this morning, the Trump administration is stepping up the fight to take out Iranian firepower and secure the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Military Central Command announcing it used multiple 5,000-pound bombs to target storage sites near the strait, holding Iranian missiles they say were threatening American ships.
We knocked out things that nobody thought were possible to knock out.
The push comes as Iran's effective blockade of that vital oil route keeps forcing gas prices up, and as President Trump has sought to pressure allies into helping secure and unblock it.
They don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be, but we don't need help.
All as the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, resigned in opposition to the war. The retired Green Beret and longtime Trump supporter writing, quote, "Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby."
It's a good thing that he's out because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was.
The White House press secretary saying the president had, quote, "strong and compelling evidence that Iran was going to attack the United States first." Democrats argue they haven't seen that clear evidence.
And nobody should know better than Joe Kent, who's in charge of counterterrorism.
In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
So-called forever chemicals may be harming adolescent bone health. That's according to a study published Tuesday in the Journal of Endocrine Society. These chemicals, known as PFAs, are found in everything from nonstick cookware to food packaging and don't break down in the environment. Researchers tracked more than 200 children from birth, measuring chemical levels over time and testing bone density at age 12. They found kids with higher levels of certain PFAs tended to have lower bone strength in their early teens. Experts say that could mean some children aren't reaching their full And a New Hampshire man was arrested Friday on charges of first-degree assault after his baby was hospitalized with dozens of fractures and bruises. Kelly O'Brien was in court for the father's arraignment.
When we look at the facts of this case, I would find that to be nothing short of chilling.
Prosecutors say when Drew Babcock's 3-month-old son was brought to a Lakes Region hospital by his grandmother for cold symptoms, doctors found over 30 fractures and bruises on the infant's body. The medical team alerted DCYF, who called Nashua police. Babcock is now facing 8 felony assault charges.
He admitted that he did this because he lost control and would not stop crying.
Court documents say Babcock voluntarily spoke to police and told investigators he would apply pressure to the baby's back, ribs, and stomach to try to get him to stop crying because he was colicky. He would also punch the child in the back and would lay on him.
He stated that he would use approximately 50% of his strength during this time. He admitted that he would conduct these maneuvers on JB about 2 to 3 times a week.
The 3-month-old and his 4-year-old brother are now in the custody of their aunt. Doctors were also concerned for the child's weight after not gaining any since his February appointment, saying he was put in as a failure to thrive. Babcock's family was in the courtroom for his arraignment.
I can't believe it. I can't see it.
The defense says the child didn't receive a vitamin shot, so he bruises easily.
He's presumed innocent, and I'm going to do everything I can to defend him. That's all I have.
A judge ordered Babcock not to have any contact with his 2 children. Court paperwork says Babcock told his wife he didn't realize the pressure was breaking his baby's bones. His attorney says Babcock is remorseful. And now Here is Josiah Pike with our Washington correspondent Brandon Cullerton as they discuss what is going on in government happenings that you need to know about.
U.S. National Counterterrorism Center Director resigned today over the Iran war, saying Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States. Joe Kent posted his resignation letter on X today. Alaska's news source Washington correspondent Brendan Cullerton is live in the nation's capital. Brendan, what did Kent say and what is the response from the White House?
Josiah, Kent said that the real reason the United States is involved in this war is because of pressure from Israel and Israel's strong American lobby, saying in that letter he could no longer continue supporting the war in good conscience. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, saying that the resignation letter was full of false statements. She accused the letter of parroting the same lines that she hears from liberal media and Democrats, and she says that the evidence collected to go to Iran came from several different sources.
Right now, President Trump is now saying the U.S. does not need any help in the war against Iran. This comes after calls for NATO allies to help open the Strait of Hormuz. What is the state of the president's attempt to build a coalition, Brennan?
Well, NATO leaders continue to tell the president, essentially, you didn't ask us to join this war. You didn't run it by us. And they basically say NATO tends to be more of a defensive alliance. It's not meant to be an offensive alliance, saying that the United States and Israel essentially started this war. President Trump responded, saying that America did not start the war in Ukraine, but the United States has helped Ukraine, which has been beneficial to Europe. The president did say yesterday he formed a coalition of 7 nations willing to assist, but he has not named what those countries are, and we've not heard any more about that plan. Trump today said it was a big mistake for NATO countries not to assist the United States.
All right, and finally, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Attorney General Pam Bondi earlier today over the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein investigation. Brendan, what are lawmakers saying and what comes next now for Bondi?
Well, Bondi is set to testify before the committee on April 14th. That's less than 1 month from today. Critics of Bondi, mostly Democrats, are out saying that the Justice Department is essentially protecting criminals by redacting too much from these files, not putting out enough of the files that they are required by law to do so. Comer, the Republican chair of this committee, says that, as Attorney General, Bondi is tasked with reviewing and collecting these documents, and he believes her insight would be valuable to the committee as they carry out their investigation into Jeffrey Epstein.
All right, Alaska's News Source's Washington correspondent Brendan Cullerton. Brendan, thanks for joining us today.
Josiah.
And with that, we're going to take another very short break. We're going to jump into student loans, including Parent Plus loans, the changes happening there, and changes in federal student loan repayment and forgiveness. So we're going to jump into those stories when we return and what you can do to help your college student or to recover from, as you are a former college student, to recover from those student loans. So we'll be right back. Welcome back into the Morning Edition Extra. Major changes are coming to student loan borrowing and repayment options. Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa explains what parents and students need to know in this Watching Your Wallet.
Parent Plus loans are one of the biggest changes that are happening in the student loan space this year. Robert Farrington, the founder of the College Investor, says starting July 1st of this year, parents can only borrow up to $20,000 per year or $65,000 in total for their child's education.
That's a big change compared to the current limits, which are uncapped up to the total cost of attendance. What's important to realize is that Parent Plus loans fill in a really hard place for kids to pay for college. So students can typically only borrow $5,500 to $7,500 themselves. And as we know, college costs way more than that.
Farrington says there are some worries these new caps on Parent Plus loans could prevent parents from helping their kids.
So along with the borrowing limits, the repayment plan options are changing, and Parent Plus loans will only have access to the standard repayment plan going forward. They will no longer have access to income-driven repayment plans, which also means that parents will no longer have access to loan forgiveness programs like public service loan forgiveness.
Farrington says it's going to drive a lot of families to private student loans, because Parent Plus loans now are basically equal to private loans, which means it really will come down to the interest rate. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
A federal appeals court ordered the end of the Savings of Valuable Education, or the SAVE plan, a Biden administration era student loan repayment program. It brought lower monthly bills to millions of borrowers. Ivan Rodriguez has that story on what borrowers should know.
After years of legal challenges, the Biden-era Saving on a Valuable Education, or SAVE plan, has officially been killed by a U.S. District Court judge. The Trump administration had long called the plan illegal and sought to shut it down.
The SAVE plan was by far the most generous repayment option for student loan borrowers.
Under the plan, some enrolled borrowers saw monthly payments as low as 5% of discretionary income. It also promised to cancel remaining student loan debt after making as little as 10 years of payments. After last week's ruling, millions of student loan borrowers enrolled in SAVE have been asking a similar question: what now?
There's more than 7 million borrowers enrolled in SAVE. Keep in mind, this is at a time that we keep hearing about backlogs of income-driven repayment applications, backlogs of people trying to get their loans forgiven from public service loan forgiveness program. And so now we're going to add more than 7 million people to have to change repayment programs.
In a statement to CNBC, Education Department Undersecretary Nicholas Kent said clear guidance for borrowers enrolled in the SAVE plan and how they could move into other repayment plans would be shared in the coming weeks. Until then, Natalia Abrams with the Student Debt Crisis Center suggests borrowers wait.
Are you going to be somebody that gets that notice 6 months, 9 months down the line? This is why we're telling borrowers to just hold tight for the moment and do not make decisions based on every little bit of news, because you just get whiplash, right?
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Meantime, a new mobile walk-in medical clinic is set to open in downtown Corvallis, focusing on prenatal and postpartum care in the lower 48. Eli Kuhn got to check out the mobile clinic and gives us an inside look.
Starting on April 6th, the Sam Care Medical Mobile Clinic will be open for walk-in prenatal and postpartum care on Mondays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Monarch on 4th in Corvallis. The Monarch currently serves as a community hub that hosts nonprofits which provide resources and support for expecting and new parents. Staff tell me the clinic can offer a medical perspective which will go alongside those existing services.
When people can access medical services, we have better outcomes overall. So babies who are born healthier, parents who are healthier postpartum and have less complications.
Staff tell me one of the goals of this clinic is to provide care to people who might be skeptical of hospital visits, like immigrant communities and those dealing with substance abuse.
specifically trying to be accessible for populations that might not be comfortable accessing a more traditional care model. So patients with substance use disorder, mental illness, unhoused patients, but we will see any pregnant or postpartum patient.
One of the larger goals of the clinic is to try to break intergenerational cycles of addiction and trauma that separates families by bringing both medical and psychological treatment to one facility.
Self-care isn't always a priority until, oh, now I'm doing it for my baby. And so I think that's going to have a huge impact on ensuring that they're safe, that if there's any major detriments during pregnancy, that those are identified quickly and then treated appropriately.
The clinic will officially open on April 6th. Reporting in Corvallis, I'm Eli Kuhn.
And again, that was all in the lower 48, that mobile clinic. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to start talking about some gas prices, how you can save gas, how you can save money at the pump, which is very crucial in this moment as gas prices are increasing. And we're also going to talk about teachers and why some of them, if not a lot of them, have been forced to work second jobs because they just can't make ends meet with their teacher salary. So we'll have those stories when we return. Welcome back in. Gas prices continue to go up almost daily. Dina Dewitt has some tips for saving money at the pump and shares advice on how to make that tank of gas go a little bit further.
If your car holds 16 gallons, last month the average cost to fill up was about $48 and change. But since then, the price has spiked 52 cents. So now the average cost to fill that tank is just shy of $57.
So while the average price of a gallon of gas in Rochester is $3.55, there are so many places where it is much higher. For example, at this Sunoco on Mount Hope Avenue, it is $3.75 a gallon.
And that's the cash price. If you use credit, it's $3.85.
You gotta go, so you're gonna have to pay the prices. You can't just stay home, you gotta go to work and stuff, so what are you gonna do, you know?
But you don't have to pay that much. Back in my car, I checked an app and I can see that there's gas being sold for $3.49 about a mile away. That's 35 cents cheaper. And you can save even more with just a bit of planning before your trip.
Look at Gas Buddy's map view and look around you what prices are.
plan your trip, spending 10 or 20 seconds looking at that map view on the Gas Buddy app, you'll very much learn everything you need to know. You'll see the cheap gas, you'll see the expensive gas.
And experts say how you drive has a big impact on how much gas you use.
Americans are probably resigned to thinking that I can't do much. You can easily get 10 to 20% more miles per tank if you slow down, if you use cruise control, if you go just a mile an hour under the speed limit.
After all, it's not a speed requirement, it's a speed limit. Experts also recommend checking your tire pressure. If your pressure is too low, it can impact your gas mileage by as much as 10%.
Just empowering yourself with knowledge of gas prices around you. Google Maps shows you gas prices. The Gas Buddy app very easily shows you that. Ways to a lesser degree.
Meantime, more than half of U.S. K-12 teachers, more than a half of K-12 teachers hold a second job, according to a new poll. And as Isabella Lisco tells us, teachers in Arizona are among them.
After a full school day, dual language teacher Brianna Chavez heads home. She has about half an hour to feed her dog and grab some coffee. Then she heads to her second job. Chavez grew up in Tucson. She got a full ride scholarship to the U of A.
Everybody told me, whatever you do, don't study education because you don't get paid enough. And so my whole life I was told that I wasn't going to make any money. And I didn't care.
Now in her 5th year teaching, Chavez makes $54,000 a year. A second job at the Trident Grill helps make ends meet.
For teachers to have to run 2 jobs, they can't concentrate on their love of what they do. And you talk to most teachers, I would say 99% of teachers, they love what they do.
Chavez says that dedication can be taken advantage of.
I wouldn't leave. It sucks. I don't even want to say it to the camera because I don't want them to think that I'm like, we're all willing to do it, you know, because we're not. But we do it because we love it.
A new Gallup poll says 62% of U.S. teachers have a second job. 85% of those teachers work during the school year. One of Chavez's regulars, Jerry Ramsauer, says he'd be willing to pay more taxes so teachers can focus on their students.
We're talking about the future of this community and this state and this country. School teachers should be paid what they're worth.
Chavez says if teachers made about $10,000 to $15,000 more, she'd have more time to do what she loves.
Having more time to create creative lessons. You know, right now I feel like I have to just do everything by the book, by the curriculum, because I don't have time.
Chavez won a district award for her teaching and told me you couldn't pay her $1 million to leave the classroom. Isabella Lisco, 13 News.
And meantime, in Georgetown, Kentucky, Police Department has a new partner to help fight child exploitation in the city. As Megan Mannering reports, that new partner has 4 legs and is trained to sniff out chemical compounds found in flash drives, cell phones, and micro SD cards, all devices that can hold critical evidence in child exploitation cases.
Fiercely obedient, laser focused, and trained to track down trouble. Meet Canine Flash.
So about 3 weeks ago is when we got them, and life's been great.
Flush, heal.
With an ongoing commitment to the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, Georgetown police wanted backup of the 4-legged kind. They qualified for Our Rescue, a nonprofit battling sex trafficking and child exploitation by donating electronic storage detection canines to law enforcement agencies. And that means Flash came free, food, vet care, and all.
The agency and the community as a whole are out $0. It didn't cost us anything to have him.
But they gain a lot. In high-stakes cases, Flash is the closer.
Typically, whenever we get finished with our search, we'll bring in the canine, so we'll bring in Flash and just to make sure that we'll call it another set of eyes, if you will.
But it's actually Flash's nose that's trained to sniff out the chemical compound found in flash drives, cell phones, even micro SD cards. Just 3 weeks into his role, Flash has proven he's not just cute, he's committed.
U.S. probation reached out on a convicted sex offender that they were doing a search warrant on and asked for his assistance. And he was successful. We ended up finding a device that was hidden away in a toolbox in a garage.
Police Chief Darren Allgood says he's good for morale, too.
You know, everybody stops what they're doing. It takes 2 minutes for Flash to talk to him, and he's well liked already.
In uniform and off duty with his handler, Detective Blake Leiser.
My kids are in love with him. When we go home, the vest comes off and he's just a member of the family. He's just a pet.
A good boy chasing bad guys and helping protect the most vulnerable.
I'm excited to see what he does in the future because I know that he'll be able to help a lot of victims and put a lot of bad people in jail. So that's what we're excited for.
And with that, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some Irish dancing in Anchorage, as yesterday was St. Paddy's Day. So we're going to touch a little bit on that, get a little bit festive, and we're going to talk about a lot of food, including Michael B. Jordan at In-N-Out. We're going to talk about Taco Bell. We're going to talk about Kraft mac and cheese. We're going to talk about a lot of different kinds of foods and potatoes. So stick with us. We're going to have those very fun stories and more stories when we return. Welcome back in. Lots of green and good luck yesterday, as St. Paddy's Day is full of traditions, and one of them is stepping into the spotlight Tuesday. Danny Tompkins went to the Irish Dance Academy of Alaska to get a first dance lesson in Celtic dance.
It looks effortless, but trust me, it's not. Student Zita Lindemood says she learned that the hard way.
I did not like it because I was a very lazy girl and I did not like to move.
But now,
I love moving, I love dancing with my friends. It's also really nice just dancing and moving when you have nothing to do at home and you only have brothers.
are we starting from here? During my lesson at the Irish Dance Academy of Anchorage, Gianna Lewis made one thing clear.
It's a lot of hard work. I have a friend who I was recently doing something with, and she does other types of dance, and just in a joking way, she was like, Irish dancing isn't real dancing. I'm like, actually, it's a lot of hard work.
She is not wrong. This move is called a leap, a jump that takes strength, timing, and a lot of practice. Zita says if your feet are off even a little,
you mess up the whole dance. I do that a lot.
And I did that a lot too. Coach Annie says St. Patrick's Day is when all the hard work pays off.
It's a very important day for us. We love St. Patrick's Day. We love dancing and performing around the community and sharing the love of Irish dance and culture.
And the crowds agree.
They clap and hoot and holler.
Now, I may not have the footwork down just yet, but after a few minutes in the studio, I see why the crowds keep coming back. Some traditions are worth every step. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
Well, Danny had a very wonderful time learning to Irish dance, and I'm very glad that she got that opportunity to do that. And by now, you may have seen the video of Michael B. Jordan celebrating his Oscar win with a stop at the infamous In-N-Out Burger in Hollywood. But have you heard the story for one of the shocked customers who was in the restaurant at the time? That customer captured some memorable video and talks about that surreal, only in LA type of moment. Jonathan Gonzalez has the story.
When Michael B. Jordan walked into the Hollywood In-N-Out Burger with his new Oscar in hand, Gleb Vashkevich experienced a uniquely Hollywood moment.
You know, I completely forgot about Oscars at all. So we parked our car, we got in, it was like so packed, like it was like literally hundreds of people inside.
Gleb is visiting LA from Chicago. He says he was in the middle of ordering food when suddenly he heard screams and cameras going off.
I turned my head to the left, and Michael B. Jordan is literally standing right next to me. Like, he's literally ordering burger, like, right next to me, like right here. I'm like, my jaw dropped. I'm started, like, doing this. I'm like, wait, it can't be real. Like, what is going on here?
What was going on was a truly only in LA moment. Hollywood's newest Best Actor winner enjoying Southern California's favorite fast food, just steps from the Dolby Theater, where he just won his first Academy Award.
I can't imagine, like, how it feels like to get your first Oscar ever, you know, like have so many emotions, but like be just so chill when like thousands of people like are surrounding you, you know, they're taking pictures, like you still are able to make jokes with them. Like, you know, he's just a great person.
Jordan signed some autographs and shook some hands and then enjoyed some cheeseburgers. One for him and perhaps one for his new pal, Oscar.
Woo!
It's all a reminder that in LA, you never know who you might be standing next to.
This is just such a cool moment, and I think this is like very typical for California, like, you know, to meet like celebrities like that, I guess.
And excuse me for that, my microphone appears to have been down, but now it is up. So this fireball, let me start over. A fireball in the sky and a loud boom startled people in Ohio and in Pennsylvania, and this happened yesterday morning. Video from Pittsburgh shows a bright streak moving across the sky. The National Weather Service said the flash was likely a meteor entering the atmosphere. Satellite data and lightning mapping technology helped confirm the event. NASA also backed that up, saying a meteor was spotted above Medina, Ohio around 9 a.m. And a small jewelry store in California is getting a lot of attention after they started accepting sea glass as a form of payment, or also known as mermaid money. Alice Martinez paid the shop a visit and has the story.
Megan Bell is a dedicated sea glass collector.
The amount that you see now was just 1 year of collecting on the beach, morning, night, weekends. I have my secret ways of gathering a lot at one time.
Bell came to Betty Belt in Ventura to see how much her sea glass is worth.
Look at this, mermaid money.
Shades of blue and turquoise are more valuable than other colors because of how rare they are.
All your blues and turquoises are worth $99.
Owner Donna Pu'u has been accepting sea glass as currency for years, but more people are now hearing about it thanks to a now viral video made by one of her employees with more than 500,000 views on TikTok alone.
That may not sound like a lot, but for us it really is. We're a really small company, and this has been such a blessing. You know, I think it just struck a nerve with people, this alternate economy.
The store has built a network of beachcombers who bring in their sea glass from near and far. But not every piece passes the test.
And this one's a little rough, so we won't take that one. There actually is a lot of fake sea glass out there nowadays in the jewelry market. We only work with authentic sea glass, and I can tell the difference when people bring it in.
Collectors can exchange their sea glass for store credit or the lesser cash option, or they can have it turned in to jewelry. For Belle, what began as an obsession with the ocean is now a productive hobby.
To be able to trade it in for jewelry that I'm probably going to buy anyways, it's fun that way, you know? I feel like we're both getting something out of it. What goes around comes around, you know?
And here are some fun images, fun videos from Front Street St. Patty's Day Parade in Nome. So let's take a look. Everyone seems to be having the smiles all around. They're handing out green necklaces. I see the festivity. Everyone seems to be having such a good time. And this is coming from our team who's in Nome right now for the Iditarod. So take a look at that. Everyone seems happy, cheerful. And yeah, St. Patrick's Day was overall a very festive day. Not every St. Patrick's Day tradition looks the same, as evidenced by this one here, the Great Potato Race. This one is from the Children's Hospital of Colorado, which is celebrating the 27th year of their own tradition. They say it's equal parts humor and heart. Team members decorate potatoes and creative pop culture references. Entries this year included Catherine Potato Hera, Tater Things, and Tater Swift, for example. After the beauty contest, the potatoes on wheels race down a custom track. The winners earn potato-themed prizes like chips and a potato trophy to take home. How interesting is that? A little potato probably carved into a car or have wheels on them, and there's the potato trophy. And there are those chips, and there's Tater Swift after the iconic, of course, Taylor Swift. And there's, oh, that's Alyssa Liu. That's figure skater Alyssa Liu. And Catherine Potato Hera right there, as we were talking about earlier. And then something from Stranger Things. I don't watch Stranger Things, but I imagine the one behind him is what this character is supposed to be. But he has kind of like a Mr. Potato Head eyes and mouth. So I love that. Now this guy loves his toys. This lion seen at the Oakland Zoo in California was given the sound enrichment toy, and he was having an absolute time with it. Let's take a listen again. Oh, he's just having the time of his life, and that is quite the ruckus, and was apparently heard throughout a good portion of the zoo. Manla, as the lion is named, was given the sound enrichment toy to help stimulate auditory stimulation, sensory variety, and basically reduce boredom and stimulate natural behaviors. Well, that's so cute. He's having the time of his life. Oh. Now, lions are scary creatures, but sometimes they're just big kitties. Sometimes they just want to play and they're just big kitties. And well, that wraps up the Morning Edition Extra for you this morning. Thank you so much for starting off your day with Alaska's news source and with me here at the Digital Desk. Stay tuned for your news at noon for the latest news and weather and more. And everything that you need to know will come up at noon. So thank you so much for sticking with us and have a wonderful day.